My name is Marina, and while I was serving my country in Afghanistan, my in-laws decided that a military wife didn't deserve her grandmother's inheritance. What they didn't calculate was that before I put on a uniform, I had already spent 3 years litigating real estate fraud cases. It all began 2 years ago when my grandmother Elena passed away. She was extraordinary, a woman who had survived the Spanish Civil War and built a new life from scratch in Mexico. When my parents died, she took me in at 12 years old and raised me with one principle. Strong women don't ask for permission, they take action. She left me her house in Coyoacán, a stunning 1940s colonial home with a sprawling garden. It wasn't just a house, it was the museum of our family's history. "Take care of it, Marina," she whispered on her deathbed. "This house has seen 3 generations born and pass. Let it see the 4th. 6 months later, I married Diego. He seemed perfect, a doctor, charming, from a good family. His parents, Roberto and Carmen Mendoza, were another story. From the beginning, they made it clear they thought their son could do better than a military orphan with delusions of grandeur. A lawyer and a soldier? Carmen sneered at our first dinner together. "Women aren't made for war, dear. You should focus on giving Diego children." "With respect, Senora, I've spent 3 years defending veterans from property scams," I replied. "I think I can handle both careers." Roberto chuckled. "Ah, modern feminists. Don't worry, it'll pass once you have kids." I should have seen the signs. But I was in love. And Diego defended me, at least when we were alone. "Don't mind them," he'd say. "They're from another generation." When I received deployment orders to Afghanistan for 18 months, their reaction was predictable. "See," Carmen said to Diego in front of me. "I told you she wasn't suitable. A wife belongs at home." "Marina has a duty to her country," Diego replied weakly. "Her duty is to you," Roberto snapped. "What kind of wife abandons her husband?" "The kind who took an oath," I said, standing. "The kind who defends your right to say stupid things over an expensive dinner." I walked out. Diego followed with hollow apologies. During deployment, things seemed normal. Diego wrote me often. We had video calls when possible. He'd say he missed the house, that it felt too big without me. "My parents keep insisting I move in with them," he mentioned once. "Don't even think about it. That house is ours." "Of course, love. Just until you're back." A lie. All of it. 6 months in, I noticed strange things. Diego dodged questions about the house. My neighbors stopped responding to messages. Even the gardener I paid monthly stopped sending invoices. "Everything fine with the house?" I asked in one call. "Perfectly," he answered too quickly. It was my friend Lucia, also a lawyer, who uncovered the truth. I'd asked her to stop by the house to grab some documents. "Marina, there's a sold sign out front." "What?" "The house. Century 21. Sold." The world stopped. In that sweltering Afghan camp, surrounded by desert heat, I felt ice in my veins. It must be a mistake. No mistake. I asked. "The new owners move in next month." That night I confronted Diego on a video call. He was sitting with his parents, of course. "Diego, did you sell my grandmother's house?" His face drained. Carmen grabbed the phone. "It was for the best, dear. That old house needed constant repairs. It wasn't suitable for people like us." "People like us?" "Well, with Diego working so hard and you, playing soldier. You sold my house. My grandmother's house. My inheritance." Roberto leaned into frame. "Don't be dramatic. It was a family decision." "Not your family. My property." "Technically," he smirked, "with Diego's power of attorney." "What power of attorney?" Diego looked away. The truth hit me like shrapnel. "Diego, you forged my signature?" "No, it's not like that. Mom said it was for your good." Carmen laughed. "We sold that house $400,000. A generous price for such an old place. Military wives can't handle property anyway. We used the money for a better investment," Roberto added. "A modern apartment. More appropriate." I adjusted my uniform. The camera caught my insignia, my medals, the marksmanship award pinned to my chest. Every symbol of who I was. $400,000? I asked, my voice deadly calm. "Yes, dear. An excellent price for that relic." "Interesting. My firm will love this fraud case." "Fraud?" Roberto scoffed. "What fraud?" "Everything was legal." "Legal? Like the official appraisal I filed just 6 months ago. Do you know what the real value was?" Silence. $1.2 million. For the location, the land, the historic value. A 1940 colonial home in Coyoacán. 800 square meters. 1.2 million. Carmen dropped the phone. And as a real estate fraud attorney, I continued, I know that selling a property for less than half its appraised value without the owner's consent qualifies as aggravated fraud. But Diego signed, Roberto stammered, with a forged power of attorney. That adds document falsification. 10 years in prison. Each. You can't prove it, Carmen screamed. Can I? Diego, darling, do you remember when I installed security cameras before leaving? With cloud storage? Every move in that house is recorded, including the meeting where you planned all this. It was a lie. There were no cameras. But they didn't know that. Diego vomited. Literally. On camera. Marina, please, he begged. And speaking of recordings, I said smoothly, this call is being recorded too. You just confessed to fraud. On video. Brilliant. Cut it. Cut it off. Roberto shouted. Oh, one more thing. The buyer, how much did they actually pay? Because $400,000 sounds like you pocketed the difference. That's another crime. The call ended abruptly. Within minutes, I contacted my commanding officer. Within 48 hours, I had emergency leave to return to Mexico. My fellow service members, many also military lawyers, helped me prepare the case remotely. I landed in Mexico in uniform, furious, and went straight to my old law firm. My mentor, Licenciado Morales, was waiting. Marina, we reviewed everything. It's worse than you thought. How worse? They sold it to an agency for $450,000. Kept $50,000 in cash. The agency already flipped it for full value. Those bastards. But, he smiled, since the sale was fraudulent, the whole deal is null. The house is still legally yours. That same afternoon, we filed charges: fraud, forgery, abuse of trust. By 6 p.m., arrest warrants were issued. Diego called me 100 times. I finally picked up. Marina, my parents are in jail. They came for me at the hospital. How unfortunate. You have to stop this. I'm your husband. You are my husband. My lawyer will send divorce papers. You can't. I love you. You love me? You sold the only thing I had left from my grandmother. My history. My home. For money you didn't even need. My parents forced me. You're 35 years old, Diego. Stop hiding behind mommy. At trial, the truth spilled out. The Mendozas had sold my grandmother's house to cover Roberto's gambling debts. They had already sunk money into a shady investment that collapsed. You gambled away my grandmother's house? I shouted in court. The judge, a veteran himself, showed no mercy. 7 years for Roberto. 5 for Carmen. Diego got 3 years suspended for cooperating. It took months of litigation, but I got my house back. The agency preferred returning it rather than facing a multimillion-dollar lawsuit. The day I held the keys again, I wore my uniform. I stepped into my grandmother's house and broke down in tears. In the kitchen, I found a note from the interim owners. Lieutenant Mendoza, we know the story. We cared for your home as best we could. Thank you for your service. The garden is beautiful. And it was. My grandmother would have been proud. When Diego was released, he tried to reconcile. Marina, I made a mistake. My parents manipulated me. No, Diego. You made a choice. You chose money over honor. What am I supposed to do now? Not my problem. But you should probably start by finding a lawyer. The divorce settlement includes damages. I don't have anything. My parents lost it all. Still hiding behind them. Goodbye, Diego. Today, 2 years later, I live in my grandmother's house with my 6-month-old daughter, Elena, named after her great-grandmother. I conceived her through IVF. I didn't need a man. I needed a real family. My mother-in-law wrote from prison once, "You ruined our lives." I replied, "No. You ruined your lives when you decided a military wife was worth less than your greed." Every night, when I put my daughter to sleep in the same room I once slept in as a child, I whisper, "Your great-grandmother was right, my love. Strong women don't ask for permission. They take action. And sometimes the best action is justice." The Mendozas will be out in a year for good behavior. Diego remarried a woman from a good family who, unlike me, doesn't embarrass him by being a soldier. As for me, I'm still in the army, still a lawyer, and still living in the house that 3 criminals thought they could steal from a simple military wife. They were wrong. I wasn't just a wife. I was Elena's granddaughter, a fraud attorney, a soldier of my country. And now everyone knows it. The house still stands, like the women of my family, strong, unshakable, eternal.